the blueprints found in Roswell that match future tech designs. In 2004, a retired Air Force technician named Harold Griffin died alone in a small cabin in Montana. He had no family, no visitors, and no funeral. But inside his dusty attic, hidden beneath the floorboards, was a metal container that would change everything. What it held inside wasn't gold, weapons, or secrets written in code. It was a set of blueprints. But not just any blueprints. These were written in a language that didn't exist on Earth. At least, not yet. The blueprints showed machines that looked like they belonged in the year 3000. Drones that could fly without wings, computers that ran on light instead of electricity, and a strange diagram of something that looked like a communication device powered by gravity itself. The markings were precise. The paper was smooth, like plastic, and on the bottom of each page, in faded black ink, was a stamp, Roswell, 1947. No one would have believed it, except for the man who found them, James Holloway, a young freelance journalist and conspiracy blogger. James wasn't famous, but he had a habit of going places no one else cared about. He had been looking into old military retirement records when he stumbled upon Griffin's name. The man had been stationed in Roswell in 1947, during the time of the infamous UFO crash. Most people think it was just a weather balloon, but those who dig deeper know the official story never added up. James drove 12 hours straight to Montana after learning the cabin was listed for government auction. It had been abandoned for almost 20 years. The attic smells like mold and old wood, but the metal container was airtight. When James opened it, he felt a chill run through his spine. These weren't sketches done by hand. They were printed in a way he couldn't explain, like they were made by a machine far more advanced than anything he'd ever seen. He scanned them and shared parts of the designs on a private online forum of tech engineers and ex-military whistleblowers. That's when things got weird. One of the engineers, who claimed to have worked at a major defense contractor, said he'd seen something almost exactly like the gravity communication device being developed last year. Another said the drone in the blueprints looked just like a prototype the Air Force had tested in 2019. Yet the documents were clearly dated 1947. James knew he had stumbled on something big. So he posted a redacted version of the story on his blog, careful to remove anything that could be traced. Within 48 hours, his entire blog was taken down. Not just hacked, erased. Domain suspended, email gone, and a warning message on his phone. Stop digging. He was scared, but more curious than ever. 3 days later, he got a knock on his door at 2 a.m. 2 men in suits. No badges, no ID, just a simple message. You have something that doesn't belong to you. They didn't threaten him. They didn't take anything. But when he went to check the blueprints the next morning, they were gone. James thought that was the end of it. But 2 weeks later, he received a package with no return address. Inside was a USB drive. It contained a scanned version of the blueprints and a short video. The video showed a young Harold Griffin, much younger, filming himself in black and white, clearly in the late 1940s. In the video, he held up the blueprints and said, "They told us to burn them, but I couldn't. These don't belong to us. They're not from here. And someday, someone will need to see this." Then the screen went black. James was terrified, but also felt a duty to uncover the truth. He dug deeper and discovered something even more shocking. Many of the inventions shown in the blueprints had already been discovered in recent years, but always under strange circumstances. A scientist accidentally invents a new energy system. A startup in Germany creates a drone unlike anything the public had seen. A communications breakthrough by a team that claimed they had a dream about the design. It was almost as if the technology was being drip-fed into society. Quietly, slowly, just enough to seem like human progress. But there was more. Hidden inside one of the blueprints was a second layer of writing, only visible under infrared light. It was in English. It said, "They are not coming. They are already here. We were told to reverse engineer, not understand." That changed everything. James tried to contact the original engineers who had responded to his post. One of them had disappeared. Another died in a car accident 2 days after replying. The last one sent a final encrypted message. They're watching. The designs are not just for machines. Some are biological. Biological? James studied the rest of the files and found one diagram that didn't make sense before. It wasn't a machine. It looked like a brain, half human, half something else. A hybrid. And it had connections drawn to machines, suggesting they weren't just trying to build advanced tech. They were trying to merge it with us. The implications were terrifying. What if the real purpose of the Roswell incident wasn't just about a crash? What if the so-called aliens didn't crash? They delivered something. What if the government had been working all these years not just to copy the tech, but to slowly prepare humanity for it, to become part of it? James never published the full story. He tried, but every time he shared the documents, they were wiped. He changed IPs, devices, even countries, but the files would disappear like someone always knew. And then, one day, James disappeared too. All that remains is a single backup copy of the blueprints, stored on a dead server, hidden in the code of an old conspiracy website that hasn't been updated since 2007. Most people think it's fake, but there's one thing that no skeptic can explain. One of the designs, labeled Model 12 G3, shows a phone. It looks exactly like the smartphone in your pocket. It was drawn in 1947, and you still think we invented it?